All right. Greetings, Grand Rising. Happy Saturday. Welcome to everyone. You are tuned into the Peak Wellness Hour, and we are so excited to be having this conversation. We've been excited all month talking about financial freedom. I'm super excited because we have a guest here, Crystal S. Thomas, who happens to be my queen sister. And I said her name first because she's my sister, but she is an individual that stands on her own, in her own right. And she is here to bring some knowledge to you all, to all of us, in regards to investment as far as home realty. And that is her specialty. So, as you all know, we've been talking all month long about freedom, getting out of debt, saving, spending, all of that stuff. And as we were all talking here, Queen Edith and I, we were all talking, and I realized this morning that we have to do one more week of this financial freedom thing because there's so much to talk about with investments. We've been talking about, how to budget, how to save and spend, how to, enhance your, get out of debt or whatnot. So what do you do with all that once you learn to do that? And so we're going to talk about investing. So we're going to start with home realty and understanding some things. Crystal's going to give some basic information, just some start out information on that kind of conversation. If you do want more information, if you're serious about looking for a home in the Indiana area, she's going to be the advocate to call, and her information is in the description. But before we dive into that, you all know that we're going to have CEO and founder of Peak Homecare Associates, Queen Edith, just welcome us like no one else does, because this is where this started from Peak Homecare Associates, where we founded the Peak Wellness Hour. So let's dive into it. Queen, please welcome us.
Hello, friends, family, and favorite fans, queens and kings. Thank you. It's a beautiful Saturday. My morning has started with ha. But I have one assignment. It's to reel us in. Peak Wellness Hour is brought to you by Peak Home Care Associates, all the way in the Hamilton County of the state of Indiana. We are a non-medical home care agency bringing non-medical service, non-skilled service to your loved ones at home or wherever they call home. Please reach out to us and ask us questions, whether you have a senior at home who needs just companionship, whether you're the primary caregiver who needs some respite care, or whether it's an adult with developmental challenges who could use some basic help. We are here to support you. Reach out to us. Our information is at the bottom of the screen. Let's go, Queen. And welcome, Queen Crystal. Before you get into all of this, talking about savings, I have a question. My car won't open this morning. My car will not open. The manual key will also not open. It seemed like it's electronically dead, right? I called my insurance company. I asked them, I said, if the car gets towed, will I get, do I qualify for a rental? They said, no, you don't qualify for a rental. One of the things I want us to discuss, talking about saving money, is not here, not now. We have an agenda today, but maybe later. The questions we should ask when we are signing all these contracts to save us some money. Just so I wanted to put that out there. Well, Queen, let's enjoy your conversation. I'm excited to learn. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. Queen Edith and I were talking about that before. So if you see her pop in and out, she's dealing with that situation, trying to get her car situated. But we're always here for you when we, as often as we can be. So if you see her popping in and out, that is why we are going to keep this conversation as minimal as possible, because Crystal has so much information that she has, instilled in her, but we can only do so much. And that's why I said, you all make sure, whether you need home realty in Indiana or not, make sure you please go over to her Facebook page. If you are on Facebook, Crystal S. Thomas, and you'll see that realty information. That's how you know it. You see her beautiful face here. So look for her. Make sure you follow her on that Facebook page. She is growing, and we're super excited to be a part of what she has going on. I'll say this: it's been so awesome watching her flourish with this, because I went with her. She has a property of her own that she has on the market. So I'm super proud of her doing that endeavor. And then as well as other properties. But when I went out and watched her, something that stood out with me, I always bring it up, and it might sound old, but we were out there and she was talking to individuals that live in the neighborhood that she has a home in. And she started talking about picking your neighbors. And I'm like, picking your neighbors? Because at first I was like, well, why are we going to these neighbors in this neighborhood? They already have homes, but I learned, a lot of them are not, they don't own those homes. They're renting those homes. They want home ownership, and they don't know how to get there. They don't have that connection. And for her to be so intimate in her knowledge, and take her time out just to kind of give the information. I was watching people, they were like, oh, I didn't know that. Well, somebody told me this. I didn't know that. So that is why she is here, to break some things down to you. And again, just basic information. She is not a broker. Okay. She is a realtor, a home realtor. So like we all do, we stay in our lanes. I am not a licensed financial advisor. I stay in my lane. Right. So we're going to let her share some of the things that she has to share. And you all know how we do. We just flow with the conversation. And first of all, I want to welcome Queen Kathy B. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. Queen Kathy just came off of a cruise. So super excited about that. My husband and I have been talking about that. And I got to figure out how to get on vacation. So that's what this is all about, living our best lives, having the wealth that we need to do that and understanding some things. I want to go on a cruise too, Grand rising to my queen mother, aka Rhonda Thomas. So excited that you are here. We've got a king in the house. Grand rising, King Sean A. White. You all check him out on Facebook, on Instagram, all that good jazz. I think he's on YouTube also. Great information, great empowering information. So you all make sure you like and subscribe and share and do all that good jazz. We want to support one another. Same with Queen Kathy B. You can check her out on YouTube when it comes to growing your own foods and even buying your own land. So Crystal's going to be talking about home ownership and some things involved with that. But Queen Kathy B has information on buying land. So there's so much wealth here that we have on this channel. So make sure you please, again, hit the like button, subscribe, and share with somebody, invite somebody. Okay. So without further ado, let me introduce you to my queen sister, Crystal Thomas. How are you, Queen? Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. You ladies do such a wonderful job. So I appreciate the opportunity and getting me a little bit out of my comfort zone. Angelina knows I do not do a lot of social media or, on my online presence is, I'm a baby there, right? I'm just starting out. And Angelina's helping me with that. So you all bear with me this morning. As I speak, any questions, I'm definitely open to answer. But I just thank you, ladies, for not only having me up, but just the work that you've been doing. Okay, not only with budgeting, just with the peak wellness and mind, body, soul, just giving back to the community. We definitely appreciate you all. And we support you. So this is beautiful. This is beautiful. And I'm so proud of you, sister, as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Queen sister.
So yeah, you want me to just dive right in?
I mean, sure. So I know with you, I am not a homeowner right now. I was proud of myself from going from renting for years to renting, from an apartment to renting a home, and it was motivation to do something deeper. So I know, listening to you, I know you shared me, there was a $500,000 home, what has this and that, I'm like, and I'm thinking about a lot of things, and you pointed out, well, it's not about the money, it's not that you have to have that, So can you talk to us about the concept and the perception about people overall that just don't have the information and knowledge, and the fear and the discomfort of even thinking that they are able to be a homeowner.
Sure, absolutely. So first, let me start as you do, as to give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor or a CPA or a tax expert. A lot of the things I've learned as far as finance are personal, from my personal journey, things I've gone through, watching other people. It's been a blessing. I love you, sister. I love all my siblings, but being the youngest of 5, you get to sit back and watch and learn as well. So that's where a lot of my knowledge comes from, just wanting to grow myself as far as finances are concerned. I am not a mortgage broker. So a lot of people assume that realtors and lenders are one and the same, and they are not. I'm not a mortgage broker. I am not a lender. I am a licensed realtor in the state of Indiana. So if you need help purchasing or selling, as Angie said, a home or land, that is encompassed in it's the same process, as far as buying land or buying the actual house. I'm your girl. If you need to buy, sell, whether you're doing it for yourself or for an investment, that is what realtors do. So I am going to touch a little bit on some of those other things. But like Angie said, I like to try to stay in my lane, but I also like to give and share information. So I do want to, be able to answer some of those questions. But with that disclaimer, I'm not a mortgage broker. Okay. So I want to answer Edith's questions as far as contracts real quick, and we won't stay there because I know that's the separate thing. Most important thing though is to just read your contract. When you read your contract, those questions will start to come. If you don't understand what you're reading, then you're going to have questions, and feel free to ask, even if it seems like, oh, I should know this. We never want to be embarrassed about what we don't know. We want to ask. So that is the most important thing on any contract. I don't care if that contract is just for a week or for 30 years. It's just reading it. And then, as Angie said, just some of the myths of home ownership. Some of us just assume we can't own a home. I know I was like that, when I first started. I just assumed I couldn't afford it. And there are all kinds of ways and programs to get into a home. There's different mortgage programs, FHA or government-backed loans that help with like down payment assistance, your interest rate and things, VA loans if you're a veteran. A lot of those loans are 0 down payment. There's some different products as well as if you're wanting to do investment properties. There's different loans that you can apply for just based off of renting, and I'll dig into that a little bit deeper. I think when Angie and I were out, she was speaking when she attended one of my open houses with me, the thing that I had never heard, but I thought no one's ever asked me that. We encountered a gentleman who assumed because he was a felon, he had a situation. Do you remember, Angie, how many years ago? It was some time ago in his past. Yeah. And assumed that he couldn't buy a house because of that. Has nothing to do with nothing, That's not, everybody has a past, everybody has a background. Those things do not stop you from buying a home. I think the biggest and the most common thing that I hear as far as home ownership is that, thank you, son, is that I apologize. The cost of if something breaks. A lot of people say they prefer to rent because they can't afford if something breaks in their home, what do? They prefer to be able to call maintenance and get those things addressed. Home warranties. So the same way you have insurance on your car, you have insurance on your home, life insurance, all these things, these warranties. I just did one for a client, $500 a year with $100 deductible. Covers his furnace, AC, refrigerator, stove. So if any of these things go down, they're going to either send somebody out. Obviously, they always want to try to fix it first. But if they can't, then they're going to replace it. And your deductible is $100. So that's the big thing that I like to dispel about home ownership, is that if your furnace breaks, you have to have $8,000 on hand to fix your furnace. You don't. You want to invest. Again, that's an investment. But it covers those things, paying for that home warranty up front. We had a client that the ice maker went out on their refrigerator. Everything else still stays cold, but they have a brand new refrigerator because their ice machine stopped working. So I think, again, it's important to just ask those questions of the things that are holding you back or the reasons why you think that you cannot qualify. Asking those questions, because a lot of times there is an option or a solution in those things. Credit score, down payment. Everyone assumes they have to have, $50,000, $60,000 down payment, and that's not always the case. It can be helpful because it's going to lower, what you're borrowing, right? So it is helpful, but it's not always required. Again, VA loans are generally 0% down payment. FHA, they're usually looking about 3.5% down payment. But they also have a lot of down payment assistance programs that come with that. When my best friend bought her home, she got money back at the table, right? She bought a home and they gave her a check. Also, people tend to think, you're paying that down payment and then you turn around and pay a mortgage. You usually have a month in between that closing and when your first mortgage payment is due. So even that just kind of creates a little cushion, a little balance as you're going into your home, right? There was something, look, I lost my train of thought. There was something you said, Angelina, that I wanted to answer. It'll come back to me, hopefully. But those, are a lot of misconceptions. Everyone assumes they have to have a 700-800 credit score, and you don't. I say that 640 is, especially if you're doing like an FHA. If you're going conventional and you have some money saved and things, then you might want, go a little higher. But if you're a first-time homeowner, a lot of times that is the big holdup, is that down payment, right? Having that upfront money. So a lot of people start out with FHA loans, and they're going to want you at about a 640 to just get the ball rolling. Angie's given some good solutions and some good tips on how to get there, right? Some of us are right there on that borderline, and if we're looking at Credit Karma, and Credit Karma is saying, 630. Remember that your mortgage lender is going to use a little bit different factor. And I won't go into the different FICO scores because there's like 15 of them that mortgage lenders use versus, doing an auto loan or something like that. So remember, they're looking at things a little bit different. I know I was held up, getting started because I had a lot of hospital bills when I first, started wanting to look for a home. And I was like, I can't do it with these hospital bills. They do not look at hospital bills as a mortgage lender. And again, I say that with a little discretion, but it's not something, because that's just an emergency sometimes that we can't avoid. And so those aren't always a factor. So I say, like Angie said, just knowing that credit score, just getting started, and speaking to a lender. I've got a couple, on my team that I work with that when I first applied, they told me no. And then she told me how to turn my no into a yes. She said, give it a year. About 9 months later, we were back, right back at it, and I was good. So again, just starting that conversation. If that's something that you really want to do, reach out to me, reach out to a lender, and just see where you're at. Make a plan, and start that process. Because if we don't know and we don't get started, then we're just holding it up even longer, right?
Right.
Does that kind of cover that or answer?
It does. And Queen Kathy said, I just found that out with the different FICO scores. But she also said, Queen Kathy, I believe it's about 650 for a VA loan. And I know Queen Kathy has experience with using the VA loans for home ownership, I believe. And I know, so you want to make sure that you have someone, again, that's knowledgeable in this field, because I know I was talking to Crystal about that with my husband, my king being a Marine vet, right? Queen Kathy B's husband, her king, is a vet. So we were talking about that, and I know Queen Kathy is in Vegas, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas I'm here in Indiana, and there are different rules and regulations.
I think it's 580 in Indiana.
In Indiana, okay. So I was gonna say there are different regulations and rules, so you want to know what's going on locally for you. That is why it's important to have somebody like Crystal that's knowledgeable about that, because she found, when I'm ready, for home ownership in a couple more years, she was telling me the difference, where you might want to do this instead of doing that, even though you have those options, so just weighing out all your options. Yeah. And before I forget, I'm sorry, I want to welcome Queen Betty into the digital house, because Crystal was talking, Queen Crystal was talking. I didn't want to interrupt that, but I wanted to welcome her and my queen, Aunt Gloria. Welcome into the virtual building. I did not want to forget about you all. We always want to acknowledge everyone that is here. If you are here, make sure you say hello so that we can get you in the drawing for our weekly drawing that we're doing just for this series. So make sure you do that. Crystal actually won the first planner, and then
you won the second one.
Yeah.
No, did I win the second one? I had to tap out for a second. I didn't even realize.
You won the first one. Queen Betty won the second one last week. Okay. So I'm keeping a track, so you don't see me moving. That's what's happening. I'm keeping a track. Everybody is in here. So yeah, make sure you do that. And Queen Gloria says, yes, turn your no into a yes. Yes, yes, yes.
So, I have a question before you go on. I have a question. My question is this: does age play a role? So, in other words,
good question.
If you're 60 years and you want to buy a house, what are some of the things you should consider? Is it possible that you'll be turned down just because of age?
No, that is discrimination. So that is a code of ethics violation for us as realtors. And no, and I do want to go back and say, I want to double check. I didn't bring my mortgage sheet with me and my mortgage rate, because again, I'm not a mortgage lender, so I try to stay. But as I was saying VA in Indiana, I just kind of flashed in my head, VA is a federal loan. So I want to double check that if you were thinking it's 650 in Vegas. I thought VA was a little bit lower. I said at 580. But I definitely want to double check that and just kind of follow up, because VA and FHA, those are federal programs, so they actually should not change from state to state as far as the requirements. But to answer your question, no, age, race, those things are discriminatory factors, so those do not play a role. The only time that comes into play is, obviously if you're looking into a senior only community, then you need to be a senior. Okay. And then considering, for yourself, what's gonna work for you. Is this gonna be your first home? Or is this gonna be your forever home? I say, if you're buying your last home, do you want a 2-story? If so those are the only things I say, to think about. And again, those are personal factors, but no, they do not affect how you qualify, if that answers that question. Okay.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And with you saying that, with you asking that question, Queenie, that's a very good question, because I think we're at a point here where we don't think about generational wealth. We don't realize the importance of generational wealth, and ownership is a big part of that. So no matter how old you are, and I mean, teach their own. I'm not, this is not, you all know this is not my area of expertise, but I would think that even if I were older, I would want something where it was feasible that I could pass down to my children or leave it to family, So you do have to think practical, you want space, so do you go up or do you go out? For me at 43, I'm gonna go out. Okay. I don't want not a darn stair. What I do want is to build my wealth where I could put an elevator in that baby. You hear me? I don't want one stair lift things. I want an elevator. Okay. You hear? So, but until then, we're gonna build out, because it's practical. As my king is older, so as we get older, who's going down to the man cave in the basement? Who's washing, laundry in the basement? Do you know how many falls occur when you have seniors living at home alone that are still capable, but have to go downstairs to do laundry? And a lot of those homes are older. where it's not carpeted, it's a safety issue. So you have to think about those things. But again, like with generational wealth, it's very important that we sustain that.
And with that, they have programs for that, because I think you and I were talking about that, Angie, on a personal, do you want to start this loan and this debt, at this age, or, but there are programs there as well. Same way you had, again, your life insurance, you can take out a separate insurance on your home, that in the event something happens to you before you pay off this mortgage, it'll pay off that mortgage for you. And I like that idea. Obviously, you can wrap that in your life insurance too, but I like that idea because some of those programs, should you pay off that mortgage and not pass away, give you your money back. Or a portion of it. You can also borrow against, some of those programs. So you're paying it separate from your life insurance to protect your asset and your generational wealth. But it's not, you find the right one. It's not a total loss if you don't end up needing it at the end of your loan, and you get some of that money back. So that's another, just good option. Again, if you're especially, older in age and think that I don't want to, leave my family or whatever, or heck, we know that sometimes we don't get up older in age. Tomorrow's not always promised, but that's another protection, just for that asset, so that you can pass it down free and clear. Trust is another way, but again, I'll let Angelina do that one.
I can't wait for you. I would love to have a conversation with you. I know you said you're not, used to being alive, but I would love to have a conversation with you about that, with the trust, because it's like, she said, she's the youngest of 5, like I'm right there in the middle, but she just watching her, and the knowledge, you all have seen, if you watch the previous, conversations this month, I'll say something to the best of my knowledge and she'll, give some more insight in the chat, so, knowledge is power. But I would love to talk about trust and the differences with that, and that protection for generational wealth. That would be awesome. So speaking of that, on those lines, let me ask you, may I ask you about equity? What does that mean when we talk about, you have this home and then you have, this amount of equity in your home, and what does that mean when we're talking about equity?
So I want to give you guys a few points real quick, just as far as the benefit, because I'm going to talk a lot about equity. So I'm gonna hold that real quick, sister,
okay,
so I can
go ahead.
Because that to me, especially talking about, real estate as an investment, that's Angie knows, that's my top of the list. That is why it is my option, my best option, and why I love the idea of home ownership. So I'm going to swing back around to that, but I wanted to give you a few other things that I feel like make home ownership versus renting a better investment. And I understand it's not for everybody. But when you look at it as an investment, I think it just gives us a different perception, right? So I think I started with 5. I think I added on. But a couple of reasons just why I feel like home ownership is just a better option. Number one, you're your landlord. So when you're renting, you've always got somebody else that you have to, if you want to paint, you have to ask. If you need to change your floors, you have to ask. Now you're waiting on this person who may own 5 other properties and they've got you on the list, but now you're just waiting. When you own your home, you are the landlord. You are in charge of what you want to do. Short of being in like a homeowners association, or we always have local and state laws that prevent us from doing certain things, but that leeway is so much greater when you own your own home. You are in more control. You are also, sometimes we just find ourselves in situations, right, where we come up short, whether it's for the month or the year financially. You are less likely to lose your home than you are to be evicted, especially from an apartment complex. Mortgage lenders are not in the business of owning homes. They do not want to foreclose on you. They would rather work with you to get those payments in. They have forbearance programs. They have all kind of different options to keep you in your home. It costs them money to foreclose on your home. They are in the business of interest. That's how they make money. Oftentimes when they foreclose, they end up losing money. They don't want your house. As to where if you're renting an apartment or something like that and you're short 1 month, you know, you got 15 days to come up with it. They're tacking on all these
Oh my
late fees.
God.
My
And
mortgage
the
isn't late
fees.
until after 15 days. And even
And after 15 days, another 420 on top of it because they file court. So by the
yeah.
time you're done, you're paying an extra $600 to $700 extra.
Mm-hmm. And that's how a lot of people get evicted from their apartments. A lot of people, they end up coming up with that initial rent money, you know, by the 15th or the 20th. But like you said, now they've got court costs and all that. That's just as much as the rent. In an apartment complex, it's so easy to put a new renter in there, right? So that turnover is much more frequent, where again, a mortgage lender does not want your house. They want your money. Also, there are tax benefits to owning a home. If it is your primary residence, you get what's called the homestead deduction. You can only take that on one property. It does need to be your primary residence, but there are tax benefits to owning a home. There are other tax benefits on investment properties. You don't get that homestead deduction, but you get to write those expenses off in order to lower the amount of money that you owe. So what you owe on your taxes is a little bit different than, you know, your deductions and credits and things. Again, I'm not a tax expert, so we won't go into that today, but you get that tax benefit. Was that 3?
Yes.
Your payments tend to be more stable in a home, as to where I've seen I was driving the other day up a street that has, you know, I think maybe 4 or 5 apartments on that same street, and they all had out their spring special signs and, you know, this rate, get in, no, you know, no money down. But then that following year, your rent goes up, and then it goes up again and again, you know, year after year after year. In your mortgage, your balance that you owe on your home it's never going to go up. If you're making monthly payments, they're not going to just throw in an extra fee on, you know, on your principal balance. That's never going to go up unless you change your contract. Your interest rate isn't going to change, and these are fixed interest rates. They do have some other options where you can do a variable that may work for some people, but on a fixed interest rate, you know, that doesn't change. The only things that factor that may change your mortgage are property taxes and your homeowner's insurance, because all these things are wrapped into your monthly payment. A lot of people think that too. Well, I've got to pay this every month, and then I got to come up with property taxes twice a year. Your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance, your interest, and your principal are all part of your monthly payment. So when it comes due, they'll take it out of your escrow account and pay those things for you, but they're all wrapped up. We obviously can't do a whole lot about property taxes if they go up. Again, short of whatever credits or exemptions you may qualify for personally. But you can control, you know, your homeowner's insurance a little bit. You are able to shop around for the best product. Same thing with your mortgage. I always say that when you're talking to a lender, talk to 3 of them. Shop around for the best product and the best offer that works for you. And the same thing with your homeowner's insurance. I look at mine every year. If they say that it is going up, I want to know why. I want to see why, and I want to see if there's another option, because those are the only things that are going to affect that monthly payment. Otherwise, you stay in the same bracket. My property taxes went up. I think everybody's did after COVID, but it broke down to $25 a month, you know, or no, it was $17 a month. And then I changed my homeowner's insurance. So $17 a month. You don't feel that, you know, that doesn't sting as bad versus that rent going up, you know, $80 or $100 because you got in on a special. So the stability of your payments. The other is appreciation. Home ownership homes are one of the few things that we buy, big purchases that appreciate over time. You know, you think about getting the car loan, and the moment you drive that car off the lot, it is worth less than it was. Just from you signing that paper to actually getting in the car, you lowered the value of that car. homes work the other way. They appreciate over time. The value of your house goes up over time because your home is attached to land. So the same thing, concept, that's what I said, land and buying property kind of work the same way. Same thing if you're just buying the land, but that home is attached to the land. So it's always going to appreciate because no matter how great we get with technology, no matter how many rocket ships they send up, we cannot create more land. God gave us what he gave us. And that's it. You cannot create more land. So it becomes, the more scarce it becomes, the more valuable it becomes. So as your home appreciates and the value goes up as you're living there and you're paying your mortgage on time and your mortgage balance is going down, you are building equity, Angelina. So my favorite thing about owning a house is building equity. And that to me is what makes it an investment. Equity is the difference between the value of your home and what you owe on your mortgage. So I'm just making up numbers. If your home is valued at $200,000 and you owe $100,000 on your mortgage, then you have $100,000 in equity. And there are ways to use that equity in your favor. You can borrow that. I'm going to give you like three good ways to use equity. Again, it's going to always be that gap. We had over, yeah. Sorry, I was reading the comments. Yes.
Queen Kathy B said that she had over $100,000 in her last home that she sold.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's awesome.
You know what is interesting? I've lived in Fishers 10 years and I see my rent is literally 100% increase at this point. And I keep asking myself, if I had just prepared myself and bought a house, the equity that will be in there. So in other words, you build equity in home ownership, but your money is going down the drain. There's nothing to get back with rental.
Absolutely. And
we need to get together. Period.
Yes, ma'am. I was telling Angelina that right now, since COVID and all that, some interest rates have jumped a bit. So some people are looking at it now, like depending on your area and the house and all that, there's all these factors. It may be cheaper to rent right now on a monthly, when you think about it as far as monthly, it might be a little bit cheaper, but like Miss Edith said, that money it's benefiting you none. It's going nowhere as far as building your finances and your wealth. It benefits you zero as to where even if you're spending a little bit more money, when you think about long term, again, you're building that equity, you're building ownership, you're building a legacy and things you can pass down, generational wealth that you can pass down to those around you. So yes, I will probably upset some landlords. I am a realtor, but I'm an investor as well. So I may upset some renters today and some landlords, because again, you can use equity in your favor.
Yeah, right. True.
I bought my house. I think it's been 5 years now. And I had a situation that had me in a panic. I was like, I'm gonna see how much I can sell this house for. And again, I've got a little bit different access as a realtor and looking at the house behind me, that is the exact same model of my house, exact same square foot layout, everything. And I'm like, I bought this house for $127,000. I could sell it for $240 easy today if I wanted to. Me and Aunt Gloria were talking about that, just because of appreciation. Not even, we'll get into it, but not even because of things that I've done to my house. That's just natural appreciation, right? So equity. You can use equity. I'm going to give you 3 different ways to use equity in your favor. The one is just to borrow your equity. Did you have a question, Angie?
No.
Okay, sorry.
Actually, I wanted you to finish. You talked about different ways of financing. And I was going to say that I'm seeing a lot of videos of grants and programs for buying a home and all these grants out there. How valid are these grants and stuff like that?
Say that again. How what?
How valid, how true are these options of all these grants to help you purchase a home or even give you the money to put down on a house? Are they true? Are they real? Like,
yes. Of course, there's in every good thing somebody throws in a bad one, right? Somebody always tries to figure out how to scam the system, or so there are always those ones in there that you want to avoid. But yes, there are monies out there to purchase homes, and there are classes of down payment assistance, especially again with FHA loans. And again, I try to be careful how I say things. I always say, again, talking to at least 3 different lenders, and because not all lenders offer the same products, right? So that's why I always say, talk to a variety of lenders, see what they offer. But most of them are going to have some type of down payment assistance option. If you've got a lender you've been working with and they don't, and that's a factor for you, then you call me and I'm gonna connect you with a different lender that does.
Well, we're coming to you. We're coming to break down your door.
Absolutely. And Crystal's information is in the description, you all. So go ahead and check that out. If you go to Facebook, all that stuff is there for you. But you know what though? What do you think about this, sister? And I want you to if you can respond to Queen Gloria's question, but I want to see with that, I think when you're looking for those scam kind of things or trying to avoid the scam things, I know again here living in Indiana, I would go to indy.gov, or whatever your .gov is, and see what they have to offer. I don't know. What do you think, sister? I don't know.
Absolutely. Especially, I always start with, how did you contact me? If you're reaching out to me versus the other way around, then I'm just suspect of you automatically. Because where did you get my information? What made you decide that I was looking for a home? So can I revert? If you reach out to me and you offer me something, and that's not just with these grants, but just in general, because the scamming is terrible. If you reach out to me and I can't call you back, then that's a red flag. If you're telling me I have to click this link in order to sign up for your program, why can't I go directly to your website? I should be able to get off the phone with you or, and go directly to your website and get the same information and fill out my application on a legitimate, website. And then, just, fact checking. There's all, LinkedIn, Indeed, just where you can kind of vet and verify people. And then again, turning around and asking someone else. If a lender calls you and says they have this program, especially if it's a federally backed program, then they can't be the only ones with this program. You should be able to call another lender, even if they don't offer it personally. They should have an idea of what you're talking about. If this one person tells you they've got a federal grant for you that no one else knows about, then they made that up.
It's definitely not federal, right? Definitely not federal.
Man. So let's look at Queen Gloria's question. Do you think it's a seller's market? Are you seeing a change slowly to the buyer market? And if so, why?
What's that?
And why on either way?
And for me, a lot of times you see a lot of shifts, even just between the seasons, right? And I think that's a hard question to ask because it's very subjective. Because we get these general of the seller's market and the buyer's market, but then there's factors like the neighborhoods that are what's going on in that particular neighborhood. It's a seller's market because the inventory is limited. So you have a little bit more power to stand on, how much you want for your home because the options are a little bit more limited. When you hit the spring, sometimes you see a little bit more activity. You see a little bit. Some people don't like to buy in the wintertime. It's great. It's great. I got somebody a really good deal over the winter, because there weren't 12 offers. There weren't, it's not a saturated amount of people buying. So you weren't in these competitions with your offer. and things. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for. I think that a lot of people haven't wanted to sell their homes in the past year or two because of the higher interest rates. You have a lot of sellers that were locked in at a lower interest rate. And even though they're wanting to move, whether they're downsizing or expanding, they were comfortable in their interest rate. So they didn't always want to make that transition. So it kind of, I really get a little, I don't know, finicky about some of those terms, because people will hear that and they'll think, oh, okay, well then I can get a good deal. But well, it kind of depends on what you're looking for too. How many homes are on the market? But that is why, the differences in the seller market and the buyer's market is the inventory. During COVID, that was really, it's really interesting to see, because COVID was definitely a seller's market. The amount of homes that were purchased during COVID was crazy. And each home had multiple offers on it, as to where now things have kind of slowed down. So you were seeing that shift more into a buyer's market, where, again, it wasn't as many multiple offers. So I think that this past year or two has actually been a little bit stronger favor the other direction. And I'm really just kind of interested and curious to see, again, we've obviously had some changes in our government and things. So it's going to be really interesting to see what, if they do anything, and how that's going to affect the market this year. If that
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, the market, COVID market was
2021
like crazy. And I was trying to buy, I did buy during COVID, and it was crazy. I mean, we were putting in offers, $10,000 above asking price and still losing to other people. So it was madness.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
equity, you were talking about equity.
Let's get back to equity. So one of the great things you can do with equity is borrow your equity. You can borrow up to 80% of your equity. So again, that same example, if you've got $100,000 in equity, you can borrow $80,000 of that money, right? And then you have some people think that has to be used in your home, and it doesn't necessarily have to be used in your home. Let's say you're needing, a new car, or you got behind on some credit card bills. What's the average interest rate for a auto loan now? Like 17%.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, right? Or you could borrow that 80% of your home's equity at the current mortgage rate versus an auto loan rate. Current mortgage rate, I'm going to give you average about 6%. So what if you bought that car right out with a home equity loan, and then you own that car, you're done with the car company, and instead you're paying back on that mortgage, which is also paying yourself back. You're just repaying your equity. You're putting that wealth right back in. I know Angie was talking here, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, about some of the personal loans and the payday loans. Personal loans are 12%.
Oh my God, they're expensive.
It's crazy. You do a payday loan, you're paying 100 to 300% interest on that loan, versus paying 6% to get caught back up, get ahead, get where you need to be. Or you could also use that money in your house, right? So let's say you're using it for a home improvement, so you're still getting a lower rate on your loan, and now you're also adding additional equity to your house because you're doing a home improvement. So you're making your home more valuable by, adding a bathroom or changing your floors, or, whatever your project is. That's a much better way to borrow money than, the 12 or credit cards at 21 to 27%. So you can borrow your equity.
Invest in a business, right?
Right.
Invest in a business, right?
Absolutely. I'm going to get to that. That's my number 3. Let's see, I'm going to make sure I got everything there. So yes, you can borrow your equity. You can use it how you want to. That's a home equity loan, a home equity line of credit, or some people call it a second mortgage. The other thing is building wealth. Like Miss Kathy B said, having that difference when you're ready to purchase your next home. So maybe this year you cannot buy your dream home. Maybe your dream home is $350,000. I don't know. I'm just making up numbers, guys. But maybe you can't buy your dream home right away, but you can buy a starter home and build that equity. And then when you are ready to move into that next value, again, I said mine, in 5 years is like $100,000 in equity. You can turn around if you want to, get a bigger house or a different neighborhood. When you sell your home, you can take that equity and use it as your down payment. So now you're buying your next, your dream home at $350,000, but you took your $100,000 equity as your down payment. So now this $350,000 house, your mortgage principal is $250,000 because you used it as your down payment. Or maybe when your teenager moves and you're downsizing, when that time comes, maybe that, that difference will be enough to buy a new house, outright, maybe a condo where you don't have to cut the grass. And so that, smaller house, you've got that $250,000 and you're just using it to buy your next home. So that is a great way to use equity, is just to build yourself up, build your wealth. Like I said, if you can't start in, the home of your dreams, you can start somewhere. Comfortable, you're still in a good home. If you need, you want 5 bedrooms, but you can do with 3, then start with 3 and build that equity. And, in a matter of years, you can then transfer that. Angie and I were talking about that. Most people, when they buy their first home, it is just that, their first home. Most people do not stay in that home forever. And I think, we tend to think about, when we talk about buying for the first time, we think about that dream house. And, I know where mine is. I'm not there yet, but we think about that dream house and we're, oh, I can't get that, so I'm just not going to do anything. Well, you can start somewhere and build that wealth, use that equity to purchase that next home. That also rolls into how to use equity as an investment, right? Sorry, guys. How to use equity as an investment. You can take that, borrow that equity, like Miss Edith said, start a business or start your business as a real estate investor. Use that equity out of your personal home to buy an investment property. So when we talk about equity and investment properties, this is where I said I'm probably going to upset a couple people. You could buy and let me say this too. When I say homes, this include, again, land, condos, townhomes. I don't know if you've noticed, Angie, like my best friend is from Philadelphia, and I thought it was so funny just to see how common row homes and townhomes are there. He's like, people with money that there's not there's not enough room to have single family homes. Well, if you look at certain areas that are especially expanding quickly in Indiana, they're putting a lot of townhomes.
They are
in that area. So same thing, you can own a townhome, you can own a condo. And if you have that property as an investor, and you are renting that property out to someone, your renter is paying your mortgage.
Sure.
Your renter is paying your property taxes. Your renter is paying your expenses on that home. Your renter is paying your profit, your salary, whatever you're wanting to make.
I love it.
I don't know, say your mortgage, is $1,000. Again, just numbers. Let's say your property taxes are, averaged out on $250 a month. Your expenses are $250 a month. So what's that? $1,500. If you want to make $500, so now you're up to $2,000. So you have this $1,000 mortgage, and you're charging this renter $2,000 to cover your expenses, And to make a little bit of money on the side, you're going to throw a couple extra dollars in there for incidentals, for vacancies. If you got a couple months where you're waiting on somebody to move in, right? You're going to factor all those things into how much you are charging your renter each month. The whole time you're building equity off of your renter, paying your mortgage, paying, paying those things. Your renter is
Lord of mercy.
Is everybody excited? Do y'all feel excited?
Lord,
I just feel so
yeah,
every time I talk to my sister about this, I just want to go buy a house.
When are you having that investment party in your home? Because we are coming. Make it in the evening when the day
Make
is all
it in the
set to
evening.
become.
And if I'm hosting an open house tomorrow, if you want to look, I need to get the address, but maybe I have Angie throw that in there. You guys are definitely welcome to come.
I have your phone number. I'm gonna text you. You can text it to me.
Okay, absolutely. And just come,
What
come
time?
and chat with me.
What
It's
time?
2 to 4 tomorrow.
Oh, 2 to 4. I could do that.
Okay, yeah. So
I'll be there.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm going to buy the house. I mean, you are, and you're building leverage there, right? And just think, eventually, again, that mortgage balance, unless you borrow against it, that mortgage balance isn't going up, but your renter is still paying this rent. Has your landlord ever come to you and said, "Hey, I paid my mortgage off, so I'm going to lower your rent"?
Oh no, it goes up, rather.
Right.
Absolutely not.
So eventually, you're going to pay this as a renter. You're going to pay this house off for your landlord. They're going to have equity. They're going to have assets, and when they are done with that mortgage, I don't know a single one who has ever said, "Hey, I'm going to charge you less because I owe less, or because it's all profit now." It just doesn't happen. It would be a nice thing to do, but honestly, it's not a smart business thing to do, because you own it to make money, right? Not only are you building that equity, again, that's in investment, we call it leverage, because you can do the same thing with that home that somebody's renting. You can leverage that home, borrow that money, and go buy another property and do the exact same thing again.
Y'all better like and share this. Y'all better share with somebody. Y'all better share.
Yeah, share it.
That is what investors do. I don't know. I know they have a lot of, different online classes and things. But you'll hear people say that, well, you buy a house with somebody else's money, or start your business with somebody. That is what they're talking about. You are buying additional properties with your renter's money because they're building that equity for you. And then you take that equity and then you go out, you do it again. Maybe you buy a smaller property where you don't have a mortgage, maybe you buy a smaller one, you don't have a mortgage, so that the moment you put a renter in there, you're automatically just eating the profit. Again, you'll have, expenses, because to all the landlords out there, please be good landlords. Take care of your tenants. I know we've all been in those situations where you got a bad landlord that just doesn't want to take care of the property. It's not smart. Be a decent landlord if you're going to invest. Take care of people, because number one, it's the human thing to do. You don't want to live in an inhabitable property. Don't put somebody else in that, in that situation. Furthermore, you're going to get a better quality of renter, right? If you've got somebody who knows you take care of it, then they'll tend to take care of it. Also, you want to continue that appreciation. You don't want to just let your house fall apart, because at the end of the day, then you've got extra expenses that you have to fix up. So if you are going to invest, that's just my moral side. If you're going to be a landlord, try to be a decent landlord. Again, you're getting the value out of it by getting the equity, by being able to leverage that property and buy other properties. So you are getting, something out of it, where being a slumlord just does not. I believe in karma and morals, and just don't be a slumlord. That's my spiel there. I think that was most of what I had, because we covered some of the rest of what I was going to say as we got started. As far as mortgage and again, investing and being a renter, there are loan products out there that are solely for investors. I always want to say it backwards because my initials. It's DSC. There's what's called a DSCR loan. That loan is solely based off of the expectation of rent. So instead of them looking at your income and your finances, they're giving you a loan based off, yes. Oh, thank you, Kenji. They're giving you a loan based off of how much rent you can get on this property. And that is how you qualify for that loan. They do it obviously long-term and see what you're going to average for the year. But there are loan products that are just geared for investors, for, fix and flip properties. So there's all kind of options out there. Again, just getting started to me is the main thing. Knowing your credit score. We did talk about some down payment assistance. We talked about warranty programs to cover some of those costs. I also just, as a conscious just business owner and smart decisions, even with those options, I do suggest having some type of savings. Number one, because Angelina has been saying, you have to have the mindset to be able to save money. So if you haven't trained and practiced and put your brain into that aspect, then I don't suggest just thinking that you're gonna buy a house and you're just gonna get it with no efforts, with nothing given. So definitely, it is important to have some savings because there are some upfront expenses that aren't covered by down payment assistance. You want to do a home inspection. As far as in the state of Indiana, it's not always required. It's advised. Just because, I've learned a lot about construction and fixing things just from going through home inspections, having things done, on my home. I fixed my dishwasher myself because I've been in a situation where I'd already paid somebody to do it. So I paid attention. So when my personal one broke, I knew how to fix it. But having those things for that home inspection, that is something that you want to pay for upfront. It's an investment. Even if you're not asking for things to be fixed, it's good to know if there's an issue in this home, or you may not need a new roof, but get an idea of how much longer is this roof going to be good for? Is it 10 years old? Is it 5 years old? So you can just know what you're getting into going ahead. A home appraisal is something sometimes you'll pay for up front. And that just tells you the value of this house. Is this house worth the amount of money that you're financing? Again, closing costs, if you're paying for title work, things like that. So it is good to just have a little bit of money for those upfront expenses, even if you are getting down payment assistance. And home inspect, $200 on a $100,000 or $200,000 purchase is worth it to me. Just for, even if it gives you peace of mind to say, no, this home is great. I will say this about home inspections. They're always going to find something. That's their job. Okay. There is no perfect situation, whether your filter is dirty or, I think one on mine was that my banisters were on my loft were technically too short. That's not it's not a hazard that kept me from buying my house. It let me know that when I'm ready to sell my house, I should probably get higher banisters so that it doesn't come up on the inspection for my buyer, right? But it's not anything, it's not damaging, it's not going to hurt anybody. It's just, since they built this house, the standards have changed. So some people see home inspections and they get freaked out because the home inspector lists, these things that that's their job. That it is their job to kind of nitpick. If you got the wrong outlet in, they're gonna flag that outlet. That doesn't mean that the outlet doesn't work. It just means you might need that GFI, that shut off where if it gets splashed. So I do like to say that about home inspections too. I see that Aunt Gloria, rent to own. So rent to own is a bit of a dying concept. And you can still do it with some people that own their homes personally. I don't know if anybody's looked. Can y'all hear that noise in the background?
No.
Make sure. My son always liked to be in he's a teenager, so he's in his room a lot. The one time I'm sitting out here, he's out here too. I just wanted to make sure.
Waiting to get his permit today, right, you all? So we're not gonna keep her too much longer. He waiting to get this permit, you all. So
good. We got that last week.
We need to continue this conversation. We can't pack everything in one thing, really, because we want people to really listen to this.
Absolutely,
because they're loving it.
And I know it's a lot to jam in, but I do want to.
Yeah, you want to cover that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of homeowners are now wrapping their rentals up into property management companies, especially here in Indiana. You have a lot of out-of-town investors, so they're not here to manage their properties. So a lot of them are wrapping them up into property management companies. That's why you don't, you used to drive and you just see a sign in the yard, house for rent, and you don't see it as much anymore here because they're putting them into companies and kind of, again, charging different fees and all of that. So if you can catch one of those, or your landlord personally, then you may be able to do a rent to own situation if they want to offer that. It's moving a lot though to what's now called a land contract. A land contract is or seller financing, some people call it that, but land contracts are kind of the, I guess, new wave of rent to own, where you have an agreement to purchase this home, down the line. You're living here, you're paying a certain percentage, or you're paying a rent, but then you're also paying a premium that's going to go towards that purchase. So kind of same concept as rent to own. They often now, though, they usually require a little bit more money down up front because you don't have the financing to say that you can, make this purchase, right? So they're going to want a little bit more money up front to kind of just secure their investment. And then they also usually do balloon payments because like a mortgage, average mortgage is 20, 30-year mortgage. If you're doing a rent to own or a land contract, your owner does not want to wait 30 years for you to buy this house. They want you to do it, in 5 to 10 years. So they're often going to ask for balloon payments, which is, maybe once a year, you're bringing them an additional, $10,000 or something like that to go towards this purchase to get you to buy that house a little faster. I do think that's a great way, especially if you know an owner personally, to kind of get started. Sometimes if you don't have that upfront money, because when you're in that land contract, if you do that, for maybe a year or 2 years, maybe you're building your credit. A lot of times when you see people do land contracts or rent to own, it's because they have the money, they don't have the credit to start the process. So that's why a lot of people do that. So if you have those funds and you're able to do it that way, and you start chunking away at that balance for the purchase, you can still go back maybe in 2 or 3 years and go ahead and apply for a traditional mortgage. So you're already in the house, you've paid a little bit of it down, you apply for a traditional mortgage after a year or 2 or however long it takes you to build that credit, and then buy yourself out of that land contract. So that's what we're seeing a lot as far as rent to owns are going to land contracts. And I'll be happy to I know we're on a time frame, so I'll be happy to give more information about that.
Yeah, and one more thing. So Queen Betty said, this is just what she needs. Awesome. So glad that we're here for that. She said her husband and her are planning to sell their house in 2 years. So I just want to mention this because in a private chat, Queen Kathy shared that one spouse can buy the home, but both can be on the deed. So just some options to look at. So there's so much to talk about. You all know I hate when we end these conversations because we can go on and on and on. But this has been a great start. I know, sister, you just starting to come out and show your beautiful face on these social media platforms. But I really want to ask you all to go ahead and go to her page, go to Crystal S. Thomas, okay, subscribe there, follow, okay, and you all keep up with us because we're going to be doing a lot of awesome things. all this information that she has, like Queen Edith said, we can't get it all in an hour or so. I know people have questions, and she can dive so much deeper. So you want to make sure you keep up so that we can keep having these conversations. I know she's looking at my nephew because he is ready to go.
And
I'll tell you what.
I jump in real quick, sister?
Go ahead.
I will say I am trying to do better at my social media and building that. I'm going to start sharing some other things too. I will say too, shout out to my mentor, HomeIndyRealtyTeam.com. That is the team that I work on. We work through United Real Estate of Indianapolis as our brokerage. But Home Indy Realty Team, you may not see my face on there as much because I don't own that business, but I am on that team. But that's also a great, my mentor does a great job at just giving insights, just kind of little blogs and things like that. So some of what you'll see me share on my page is from there as well. And we'll collaborate and we'll put some things together for that page. But I tend to, I know Angie's trying to pull me in and she's trying to pull me in too, just to get my face on there a little bit more. But shout out to Home Indy Realty Team too. So you can check that out as well. Again, I am a licensed realtor in the state of Indiana. HomeIndyRealtyTeam.com. It's just our, the team that I'm on, our website, where you can see a list of our listings, our homes sold. And again, she's doing like a Wednesday blog things, just with some kind of tidbits and information. So again, you may not see, I've got my shirt on. I don't know. You may not see my face on there as frequently, but I am a part of that team. And I need to get my face out there more, but I'm all for just sending people where they can get good information. And our team there does do a good job at posting definitely more regularly than I do, and just giving good information, even when you're in your home, just tips of how to keep your home safe over the winter, so just different things like that. So I do want to throw that in there as well.
Awesome. Okay, I know you have to go. You all have her information. Let me ask you, did you see the updated promo I did for you?
No. No, I hadn't seen it yet.
Okay, well, y'all, she's gonna get ready to get out of here. I'm gonna play this promo I did for my sister, my queen sister, and we're gonna get out of here in just a second because she does have to go, and my nephew's waiting patiently. So here we go, real quick. Whether you are a current homeowner looking to sell your home, or you are looking to purchase a home, you want a professional that is both highly knowledgeable and genuinely compassionate in the world of home realty. Crystal S. Thomas is not only that type of home realtor, she is also your next trusted home realty advocate. Home buying is one of the most significant purchases many of us will make in our lifetimes, no matter how many times you do it. Crystal understands through personal experience the rewards as well as the challenges of home buying and ownership. That is why she wants to ensure your next investment is one that you will be secure in both now and in the future. If you are serious about purchasing or selling a home in the Indiana area in the next 90 days or less and are looking for the best place to start, you want to contact Crystal S. Thomas at 317-657-0652 and see how she can support you in your home realty journey today. Your new home is waiting for you.
You're good. You're
awesome.
Good. This is
great.
Sister,
you're awesome.
Cool beans. If you want me to change some stuff, I will. I know we saw different faces in there, so we can switch that up and make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's the start to that. So there's her information, you all. Sis, did you want to say anything before you get going with Sean?
I just thank you ladies again. Thank you for, letting me on here and just having this conversation. I appreciate the work that you all are doing. So thank you for the opportunity. And yes, call me if there's any questions I can ask, help. If you're not buying or selling right now and you know someone who is, please send them my way so we can help out and I can continue to build my business as well. So I just appreciate you all.
And if you're not ready to buy, but you want to buy in a year, knowing that your credit is not where it's supposed to be, still connect, because they can work with you. They will have all the people, all the experts to help you bring your credit where it needs to be. So
Right.
listen, don't say I can't do it. Don't say I don't have what it takes. You
Right.
can do it. This is possible. Let's get it there.
Yes. And I'm gonna say this because my sister's very
plan.
professional. I'm gonna tell you, don't y'all waste my sister's time. If you ain't serious, don't you waste my sister's time. You see she on here and she got somewhere to be. Don't y'all waste my sister's time.
Yeah.
If you're serious about home ownership or selling a home, she's definitely the one. As you can see here, the information that she just put out here in her own free time, you know, it's very valuable information. Like I said, every time I hear her talk about this, I'd be ready to just be like, let's just cancel this lease. Let's cancel this. So I'm very excited. I know I'm going to be working with her here soon. I'm looking forward to everyone listening. If you know somebody, do the right thing and get somebody as an advocate that's going to be on board for you and have all the information and steering the right direction. And just be honest and moral and ethical. So yes, I love it. I love it. Awesome. All right, Queenie, do you want to take us out?
Thank you, Crystal. Yeah, thank you. Listen, friends. Thank you, friends and family. This is a worthy information to share. You may not be ready, but there's someone who is looking for options. Listen, this rent's going up every day, close to $2,000 a month for rent for an apartment. Let's be forward looking, okay? Let's be visionaries. Let's look beyond and stop being myopic in our view. And let's get this done. This has been Peak Wellness Hour, brought to you by Peak Homecare Associates. We've had Crystal Thomas, the queen of home investments, with us, and she said a wealth of information. Listen to it, and reach out to her. We want to know where the open house is tomorrow. Please share the information, and I will do my best to be there because I want to be there. Thank you so much.
Yes. One more thing. I'm sorry. I hate doing this. I forgot. We're doing the drawing. So whoever was here last week, we're doing the drawing for these financial planners. Manuel Basal. Is that one of your people?
Manuel Basal, yeah, I can get it to him.
Tell him I got a notebook for him. Tell him I got a financial planner for him. Yes.
He's all the way in Ghana, and he's a business owner, so I can get this to him.
Okay, yes. Yeah, I'm just gonna send them all via Amazon directly to their homes.
Amazon will not deliver to Africa.
Okay. Well, you get it there. I'll let you get it there. I'm gonna send it to you.
So I'll let him know. Wow, that's cool.
I'll send it to you. Queen Aunt Betty, if you want to send me your information, your via text, I'll get your address and send this to you. We'll just get these out. Everybody that was on here today, you will be put in the drawing. So we'll draw that next week. We're so grateful. This is probably the funnest one I've done this session. All this information because I got to learn and get all empowered and stuff. So I love to learn too. So I'm very excited. Thank you again, Queen Sister. You all have our information. You all know you can check out Peak Homecare Associates for all your home care needs, right? We are here for you. Crystal's here for you. We are super excited about growing our wealth in 2025. So make sure you stay connected with us. And until next time, next Saturday, same time, same place, we wish you peace, love, and blessings.